What's up, everybody? I'm Mckenty. This is my second channel, and this is your home for my Twitch highlights and my podcast. So if you like this and you want to see more of that and you want to join the live streams, there's a link to that in the description of this video. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. This is a video that I came across the other day called Starting a Sludge Metal Career at 50 Years Old. This is a channel called The Bunn. Just randomly saw it and I thought, oh no, this is gonna be bad. This is a really bad idea, right? I can't think of many worse life choices than starting a sludge metal career at 50 years old, or so I thought. Here's the questions that he asks in the description, all the same questions that I would ask. Is this even possible? Art is cool and all, but how are we going to make money to survive, let alone grow and thrive? And who the heck listens to sludge? Isn't that wickedly niche? These are all the same questions that I had. And it turns out the guy is very, very, very smart. I actually really like the way that he thinks about this. Based on what he says here, I think it's possible. Would I necessarily recommend it? Maybe not. It's definitely a risky path at 50 years old, but this is the way to think about it. And for anybody else, who wants to make a living off their music or any other kind of art, I would say listen very closely to what this man says because he's got a lot of good ideas.
That 50-year-old baritone guy from the internet. We're here to figure out how to earn a living as a solo artist in wickedly niche music.
I get a lot of questions about this. I play X or Y genre. Can we make any money off of it? And the answer is yes.
Do it despite challenges like Asperger's, mere movement, or average musical skills.
And this guy apparently has Asperger's. That adds another challenge to this.
We need a plan badly.
Before we can plan anything, we need to answer two things. What are we doing and why are we doing it?
Yep.
In the past, they used to kind of skip over these things, and
most creative people do, because creative people and planning do not go hand in hand for the most part. Most people just say, I want to do the thing, I'm going to start doing the thing. And they just start making stuff, which is not bad. Making stuff is good. There's other people who fall into the opposite trap of planning, and never doing the thing. So I really like his approach here. Yes, you got to make stuff, but if you want to approach this as a business, if you want to turn this into your career, which he has said is his goal, you got to have some kind of a plan.
We need to figure out a minimum of 3 things to get started. First is music. We need to write, record, and release a lot of music this year. It has to sound decent, and we have to be happy with it. We want to grow our catalog of songs so that our body of work is working for us. Additionally, we want to develop a professional level of consistent output. There's a saying, amateurs wait for inspiration, pros show up and do the work.
That is such an important point. This is another question that people ask me about a lot is like, being inspired or motivated. Guess what? I'm not inspired and motivated most of the time. And if you talk to most creators, they're not either, or pro athletes for that matter. Do they want to go to practice today? No. Do I feel like writing a video right now? No. Do I have any ideas? No. But guess what? You just sit down and do it anyway, because that is the way it works. You don't wait for inspiration. I think people have it backwards. Is like they think that you get inspired and then you make stuff. It's the other way around. You make stuff and then you will get inspired.
If we want to do this full time, we got to go pro. Second on the plan is revenue. We have to prioritize methods of earning revenue from the music so that we can keep going and live a meaningful life.
Seems very simple, right? But again, a lot of people don't think about this. Revenue. This man, I don't know what he has done for his career up until now, but he seems like a smart guy.
Audience. We want to connect with people who are truly stoked on our music, people that we would probably hang out with. The challenge here is the Asperger's thing. I don't think like the average person. I value things very differently. I don't understand the subtleties of social interactions. How do we communicate all this stuff in order to connect in a meaningful way?
I can't speak to what it's like to have Asperger's. What I want to focus on here is the fact that he's not letting this hold him back. I would say there's a lot of successful people that are on the spectrum in some way or another. So if there's anybody watching this that, is on the spectrum, I see no reason why it has to. And that's true of any disability. Obviously, a disability is going to make things harder for you. There's no question about that. And so, when I say that, I don't mean to discount it or pretend that it's not real, because it is fucking real. I mean, just think about this. Like, think about somebody who's in a wheelchair. Imagine that person being on tour. And think about, the venues that you go to. How many things in that venue were designed with somebody in a wheelchair in mind? Probably not very many. You're lucky if there's a ramp anywhere in the entire fucking venue, right? So disabilities definitely make things harder. There's no question about that. But They don't have to stop you from being successful. Will they hold you back? Yes, they will. Let's just be honest. A disability will hold you back, but it will not stop you if you're determined enough. He seems like a cool, personable guy to me. Like, I actually think he has really good communication skills. So don't decide for yourself that like your disability is like a deal breaker.
We're not going to be focusing too much on playing live or anything like that. My musical writing track record hasn't been great. Only 24 tracks since 2013, and some of those are demo singles that got redone. On average, that's 2.666 tracks a year. This is something that directly impacts our possible listeners and revenue. We gotta shoot way higher. Let's shoot for 24 tracks this year. Double our output from the last 9 years in a single.
He made an observation that in order to hit his revenue goals, he's probably going to need to put out a fair amount of music. I don't think that's 100% true, but I don't think that's a bad assumption at all. I think generally speaking, you should aim to be prolific in the streaming era, especially before you've become really successful. You know, Tool and Periphery can get away without releasing music very often, but that's because they are Tool and Periphery. Misha did dozens and dozens of demos back in the day that he posted on 7string.org and wherever else. So don't assume that just because Tool and Periphery do things a certain way that you can necessarily do things that way.
Not going to be doing any release strategies or like big marketing campaigns or anything like that. The whole plan is just like get the work done, get the music done, and get it out and get a body of work behind us.
I think that's smart. A lot of people burn a whole lot of cycles coming up with these like elaborate marketing plans and release campaigns and blah, blah, blah. And there's a time and a place for that. But by and large, I think when you're a small artist, just fucking put stuff out. And if it's good, word of mouth will spread. It might take a while, but like if it's good and you share it on your personal accounts, your friends and family will notice and you will know if you have something. You know, you could spend a month coming up with some super elaborate plan to, you know, market everything you do. And I don't think it would make a bit of difference, to be honest.
My past self would try writing new music instead of finishing what was near completion. We have Vens, Foreigns, and Wetlands. We have 4 Vens tracks ready to go.
One thing he said that I really like a lot is that he realized that he was sitting on all these like halfway done songs. And he said, instead of doing what I used to do of writing something new, I'm going to finish all those songs. Great idea. And you might not think they're great, but one thing that I have learned from the content game is that the stuff that you like has very little overlap with what the audience likes. Like it's almost always with my videos is like the ones that do the best are the ones that I thought were the shittiest. And it's oftentimes the same with songs too. So the point here is like, just put shit out. Like don't sit on it forever. Just put it out. Every time that you put something out, that is a swing at the ball and you might hit a home run. You don't know. This is another really smart thing he did. He said, I don't know what my process for writing is. So I decided to track it for a week and see.
I broke down everything about my own system so that I always have a reference. If I'm stuck or I need better results, I can just refer to it. I call it the OEC: Outline, Experiment, Conclusion. The outline consists of art direction, ingredients, and parts, where the art direction is the feel, vibe, and aesthetic that we want to shoot for. The ingredients are the sounds, scales, tempos, and rhythms that we want to achieve that art direction with. And the parts are what are the functions of the riffs. Are they verses, choruses, bridges? The experiment module consists of riff dump, riff kind, and riff treatment. Riff dump is record every riff that comes.
I don't think everybody needs to have this kind of like really meticulous, like defined system for how you make stuff. But if it helps you, go for it. What I like is that he has recognized what works for him and he's leaning into that. One thing from the chat here, on top of this guy's smart ideas, his video shooting and editing skills are great. He seems like he would be successful at whatever he tries. I agree with that. And part of that is his age. Let's be honest. Music is a young person's game for the most part. That's just the truth for lots of reasons. One, because like culturally we have this like obsession with youth. Second, because most older people have responsibilities and just are unwilling or unable to like live in a van and do all that kind of shit that comes with the musician lifestyle for the most part, staying out late and stuff. But as an older person, you're going to have a lot more skills because you've been alive longer. You've had other jobs, like you've just had more time on earth to accumulate skills. Think about it that way. For anybody who's older that is nervous about, a big change in their life, their career, being a creator of some kind, like your age in a lot of ways is an advantage because of just all this shit you have learned that younger people haven't learned yet. Think about how fucking stupid you were when you were 20. I think everybody would look back and say, man, when I was 20, I was a fucking idiot. So in that way, don't you feel like it's an advantage that you at 50 years old, think about how much better your judgment is when you were 20. Think about all the ways you would fuck this up if you tried to do it when you were 20.
We get out there, the better chance that we have for folks to connect with it, and the more potential there is for revenue.
Imagine going to college in your 30s. Shit would be so easy. I started when I was 25, and it was easy. I mean, I worked hard at it, and it was challenging. Like, I'd take 4 quarters of calculus, and I literally didn't even know what calculus was before that. But it was easy in the sense that I was, I had already worked since I was 15. So I'd already worked for 10 years. Doing some homework was not intimidating to me. So in that sense, it was a lot easier. I felt like I had an advantage over the people who are younger than me.
With it, and the more potential there is for revenue, so long as people can find it and connect with it. Which leads to our next set of problems. How do we connect with truly stoked listeners? And how do we make money? Without those two things, nothing works, and we can't really go forward. So let's finish whatever music we can right now, and then let's try and improve our revenue systems and better connect with our potential audience. See you in the next one.
Here's what I think. In general, this guy is fucking smart. I love the way that he's going about this. And to answer the question at the beginning of like, is this possible? Fuck yes, it's possible. Absolutely. Could you, as a sludge metal solo musician, could you make 50 or 100 grand a year doing this? 100%. There's a famous essay called The 1,000 True Fans by a guy named Kevin Kelly, who is also the founder of Wired Magazine. And basically the point of that essay is to say that you don't need a million billion fans. All you need to make a nice living as a creator is 1,000 true fans who love what you do and will buy and support pretty much anything you put out. 1,000 people who will give you $100 a year for all the various things that you do is $100,000 a year. And I think, unless you live in fucking San Jose, $100,000 a year is a very good living, pretty much anywhere other than that. And sludge is one of those genres, like, no, it's not big, but the people who are into this stuff are very, very, very into it, very engaged. So ask yourself this. He's got almost 100,000 views on this video. Are there 1,000 sludge fans in the world who would see this and hear this guy's story and hear his music and go, this guy's fucking awesome? Yeah, I'll buy a shirt. I'll support him on Patreon. Absolutely there are. So I think actually choosing a niche subgenre like sludge, I think is almost smarter than choosing something like, say, pop. But it can be done in any genre. It doesn't matter. The point is, if you have a plan for it, anything is possible. It really is. I mean, I've made a lot of money in the past 4 years, off of YouTube and talking about weird music and my podcast and merch and all that other stuff. And my day job, URM Academy, we teach people how to record and produce metal. All the money I've made for the past 5 years pretty much has been off of niche subgenres of music. So I can say firsthand it's possible. I've seen other people do it. Look at Intervals. Look at Pliny. Look at Polyphia, Periphery. Like all these people making very nice livings off of niche subgenres. But the key is you got to have a plan and you got to be able to you got to be willing to put in the work. And that's why I believe in this guy. He has a clear plan for it. Very smart, thoughtful guy. It sounds like he is willing to put in the work. I see no reason why he can't do this. I believe in it. I think it's cool. Anybody who wants to do something like this with your life, I would say follow this guy. Try to think like him. This is how you do it.